Hey, gang, welcome to Ross and Nez. It's another spontaneous live stream, I guess, although, as you can tell from a little bit of the graphics and a little logo and the fact that we now have a Facebook page and all that kind of stuff, we may continue doing this after today. I don't know. Can you put up with me for another week or two of live streaming? He's hesitating.
I doubt it.
Yeah,
I think this is our swan song. It's over. This is it.
All right. So for the season finale.
Yeah, this is the season finale. It's the season premiere. This might be the first time in live stream broadcast history that we do a season premiere and a season finale in one show. I love it.
That's right. So, yes, a season premiere and a season finale. That's fantastic. So you have to tune in, given that kind of excitement going on. Welcome, everybody watching on the replay. Because our Facebook page is new, our link is some ungodly design like this. So just click the first pinned comment. Will have a link. You can click that, like our Facebook page, and then the next time we pop up with a live stream, you'll get notified and can join us as we talk all about social media and business and live streaming and just have fun. I mean, I had a blast last week, and it was in spite of the fact that you were here. No, it was exactly.
I really didn't have. I didn't have any fun at all.
I didn't think
really, this is kind of like torture. I think I'd much rather spend time in a Turkish prison than be here right now. No,
it's only the money that brings you back, right? It's the big bucks you get from spontaneously calling up a friend and going, "Hey, you want to go live and later today?" And they go, "Yeah," and you're like, "All right." Alert the sponsors. We're going live.
There's nothing like putting more cobwebs in your wallet to really inspire you.
Yeah. Because we don't have enough to do already, right?
No, of course not. No, of course
not.
Could
you imagine, like 15 years ago, somebody said to you, okay, day's going to come where when you leave work, you're not going to go home, have dinner on the couch and watch TV until you fall asleep, or, hang out with your wife and kids and just, enjoy playing little games and things like that with your kids. No, what's going to happen is you're going to race home from work, getting text messages and emails and stuff from your work colleagues all through the evening.
While you're racing home from work.
While you're racing home, but not looking at your phone because we do not drive distracted.
Yes, we don't.
And Nez, no distracted driving.
I'm distracted 24/7. So
yeah, and so then you get home and you're like, okay, now I got to spend like 3 hours creating content. Yeah. Right. So I mean, it's a strange world that we live in, right? And the reward for creating that content in the short run, we know in the long run, right? You can get paid, you can get opportunities, you can grow your business. But in the short run, a lot of times the reward for creating that is a little, dopamine buzz you get when you see a couple of people liked it. So that's it. So instead of working for money all day, you come home after that exhausted and you're creating content with the hope that a few people might like it or share it. Could you have imagined that when you first started working?
This is the insanity of this, era that we're living in. I mean, I remember actually leaving home without, any contact or any ability to contact me whatsoever. I actually remember that. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, Nez is old enough to remember that. Hey, Larry, snow in the house. Good to see you, Larry. But I mean, like, my dad was my voicemail. Do you remember when your dad was your voicemail?
Yeah, like, hey, you had a call earlier.
Yeah, no,
so one of your friends from school or something.
Oh, my dad was worse than that. Like, I remember friends. I'd go to school the next day, and my buddies would be like, "Dude, like, why didn't you call me back?" And I'm like, "You called me?" And they're like, "Yeah, didn't your dad tell you?" And I was like, "No." And they're like, "Well, I told him. I said, hey, this is Lou, and I've got this and this, and we talked about this, and he said I'll relay the message." And I'm like, "No, that's." He's about as useless as they come when it comes to relaying messages. I mean, I've actually had friends say to me that my dad would pick up the phone and say, "He's not here," and just hang up.
Really?
I'm like, "Thanks, Dad. Thanks, Dad. I really appreciate." Oh, it used to get me so infuriated. I mean, I laugh now. But he would literally just pick up the phone and be like, "Who is it?" And I'm like, "Yeah, is Peter there?" "No," and just hang up.
Wow.
My mom was a little different. She would actually, I mean, dads don't have time for that kind of crap. I'm not going to take a message for my stupid teenage son.
Yeah. Let me get out the notepad and
what am I going to do? Yeah. What would you
number?
like to say? Let me itemize this list. I mean, like leaving the house with zero capability of contact, that's completely gone now, isn't it? I mean, it's so crazy, the era that we're living in now. I mean, you carry your life in your pocket. It's your life pack, right? Your life pack.
And so the good part about it is you're never very far from an opportunity. The bad part about it is you're never very far from an opportunity to do something that you're either going to have to stand up and say no to, or, I mean, you could literally create content 24/7 if you wanted to, as you just went about your daily life. Yeah. I kind of lean towards like, do something you really love doing when you create content in your own time, and do it the best you can, put your all into it, but better to do a few pieces of content a week and do them really well and make an impact than do content 5 times a day, and whatever, and just kind of half-ass it. Although I think there is something to be said for consistency and showing up, and, not everything has to be a work of art either. So there's a balance in there, right? But I think you should have some things that you do that are like, these are my signature things. And like, I do my end of the year predictions blog post. That's like every year I know that's like something that people may look back on, or, will get shared a ton. But, other things maybe don't deserve that kind of effort, but still there's that balance, right? You got to get it done, but do you want to have time to eat and sleep and have human contact?
Yeah, sleep. What's sleep? Is this a face that looks like it gets a lot of sleep?
Yeah, never. I want to say hi to Tim. That's been wandering in the wilderness for.
Yeah, you don't want to know where this face has been, ladies and gentlemen. I want to say hi to Tim Longwell. Tim Longwell's in the house. Good to see you, Tim. Share this out. Sharing is caring, y'all. Please share this out if you don't mind. We would love you for it. Good to see you, Tim. Yeah, I don't know. What do you think of this whole like vlogging? And Gary talks about documenting, and everybody and their mother, it seems like they're vlogging. I mean, I kind of use Snapchat as sort of like a vlog. I mean, it's just a way to check in with my audience, but I'm not doing it every day, all day. I agree with you. I think quality, I think a lot of people would argue with us on this. I think quality versus quantity is important, but some people would say both is best. And, there's.
Yeah, I mean, I think you have to keep up some. You got to keep your accounts alive, right? If you don't keep them alive, there's no point in really having them, right?
Right.
So, yeah, I mean, your Google Plus can probably just sit there, and if you don't do much with it, life goes on, right? You don't necessarily have to close it down. You might get some SEO juice out of that post from 3 years ago or whatever. But basically,
Google Plus still exists?
Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram. Yeah. Facebook, if you want to be active on social media and that's an important part of your business or building your brand or whatever, then you got to feed the beast every once in a while with some content.
Yes.
And, one of the things that Owen Video, he talked about at Vid Summit, he had talked about how he tries to create a piece of content off of which he can then distribute smaller pieces of content that are fit for different platforms. So you take a video, you make a square thing out of it. Now you've got a 1-minute Instagram thing. You upload each question and answer within an interview to YouTube. Now you've got 5 YouTube videos out of a live and so forth. So I think that's a smart way to do it.
It's not only smart, Ross, but it's super exciting. Hey, good to see you, Nazim. And thank you, Tim, for sharing. I think that it's so exciting. I mean, it's like the middleman is taken out, right? I mean, distribution, right. You can be a, absolute distribution hub now. And I love that philosophy. And I remember very clearly, it was a couple of years ago when I first got into live streaming. I remember, and I can't remember where I first came upon it, but I was like, the idea of reposting, the idea of getting more bang for your buck,
right?
The idea of and strategically, not just vomiting all over the internet, which maybe that's sometimes what it comes off as when
you've been drinking.
Hi, my name's Nez. I'm wrong meeting. but you know, that idea that taking something and just absolutely redistributing it all over in all different channels and all different, you know, nuances, to me is like one of the most exciting things about social media. And I just think it's unbelievable that we can do that. And using, like, taking a live stream and cutting it up and putting it and SEOing the crap out of it for YouTube. I do that all the time. Or cutting it up in splices, like a 2-hour live stream, cutting it up in splices, putting it up on LinkedIn. LinkedIn allows 10 minutes of native video, and just really strategically with specific copy, right? Because, you know, I don't think enough people talk about copywriting when it comes to social media distribution and social media, you know, social media execution. Copywriting is, I think, a really important thing. I mean, I don't know if, what do you think of copywriting, Ross?
Oh, I think having the ability to put the right words together, the right enticing copy. And the other thing that comes in for people who were writers in different formats before is concise, brief, quick, get to the point, load up the most important thing at the front of the first sentence, because that may be the only real estate that people actually come to visit.
Yeah.
Right? They read the first few words and decide if they want to. So you got to capture people quick, and there's an art to it. And I don't know if I do enough. I put enough behind it, but I think I wanted to ask you about LinkedIn, and we're going to get to the 280 character limit on Twitter, the
conciseness.
and Instagram stories being able to be shared to Facebook. But I wanted to ask you, since you brought up LinkedIn, one of the things, if I have a link and there's a photo or a video below the link, but the call to action is that link, I try and keep my written content there to like a sentence and a half, or, you know, like whatever lines it is that you don't have to click read more to get to the link. Or I put the link in and then I keep going. Do you think about that with LinkedIn?
I don't understand a word of what you just said.
No, you do. You absolutely do.
Could you say that a little bit more concisely in under 280 characters? No, okay. I think I get what you're saying.
Okay, I'm posting a photo or video on LinkedIn, and there's a call to action, like, come watch our show, right? Because everybody loves that.
Yeah. How could you not?
Right. So I will say something like Twitter 280, blah, 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 and link, so that you don't have to, because only so much text, right? Only so many characters will show in a LinkedIn post. And then the rest, they have to click to get more characters. So I want them to see the call to action. That's I want them to take is not to continue reading a long post. In that case, I want them to click on that link that takes them away from LinkedIn, if that's my goal. Now, if it's a blog post or an article or a thought piece or something, then it's fine, because probably what will get them off LinkedIn to my website or whatever will be reading more of it, and they go, this is great, I got to keep reading. But if I want somebody to watch a video or come to some event or whatever, I can't take the chance that they're going to look at the thing and go, there's no link there, and just move on.
Right.
That's my thought. That could be ridiculous. It could be insane.
Yeah.
It probably is.
Thank you for being more concise than the first time.
Yeah. Well, I'm trying to explain it in enough detail that maybe something sticks. Like,
I stopped listening. I mean, I pretty much stopped listening after the third sentence. But here's the thing. Here's a good example.
That's all right. I'm talking to Nazim and Larry and Tim and everybody who's joining us on Facebook. On
Tommy's here.
Tommy's here.
Good to see Tommy Willis. Tommy? I love Tommy Willis. Tommy was here last time. He's amazing.
Tommy said if copyright industry ever catches up to live streaming needs, more people will work to be legal with their content.
Right, but I think
until that time, play that music. No.
Yeah, play the music. Yeah, I'll play Britney Spears' top hits. But here's the thing: I know what you're talking about. You want to maximize.
That's what you're going to dance to when you're home after we're finished.
If you want this live stream to be 0, I can dance, and if I start dancing, we'll never get another viewer as long as we live. But here's the thing: I know what you're talking about. You're talking about maximizing real estate so they don't have to click see more. And that's really important. That's why I think I don't think you need to worry about that if you have enticing copy. What's enticing copy? Copy that lures the reader in, not lures, that sounds kind of bad, but it's enticing. It persuades them that this is something that they should really click. This is something in their best interest, right? And I actually put the link not in the copy. I actually direct the audience to put the link in the comments. And I'll tell you why. Especially when I'm trying to distribute my YouTube content. Facebook and YouTube are completely at war with each other. And I'm assuming that LinkedIn and every platform doesn't want you to leave the platform. I mean, that's not in their best interest. I think LinkedIn is probably the same exact way. So I actually put it in the comment because what I've discovered, and I could be wrong with LinkedIn.
You probably are.
Yeah, probably. Don't listen to me, folks. What the hell do I know?
But continue on. I'm giving you enough rope. Just keep going.
Thank you so much. Yes. The execution's coming. But here's the thing. I think that, we don't talk enough about copywriting. We don't talk enough about your written skills. We don't talk enough about marketing and advertising. And are you being cheesy? Are you being too salesy? Are you actually creating a narrative or a story in your copy? Do you know who your audience is, right? I think every platform is different, but also you have to know what they want to hear in order to, what is the reason that they should click on that link? Find out, go deep into their chest, right? Go right into their gut and find out what would make them want to click that. And really, being an author, and I know you're somebody who's had a lot of experience. You're educated, right, Ross? I think
so.
Not that it matters.
I have degrees, whether that conferred any real education. No, I'm.
Where did you get those degrees? Was it in Tijuana? That Tijuana
mail order. I had to fill out a couple forms, send to check. Yeah.
But here's the thing. I think that I put the link in the comments because I think the algorithm doesn't get triggered that I'm trying to send people off a little bit less. That's what I think.
Yeah, I mean, even when I'm linking to a link within Facebook, I still often will do the @ symbol and the page, right? And say, watch the show on the Livestream Universe page, and then I'll put those down, down arrows, and put it in because even that, I think Facebook I think their algorithm probably understands internal linking, but I just don't want to take the chance, and I don't want to confuse people. So,
yeah, I mean, I agree, and if you can get that, this is the key, and this relates to the topic of the show, right? Twitter's decision to increase the character count, right? I mean, I always say to my clients, to my students, less is more, less is more, less is more. Get to your damn point as soon as possible. Even though we're not demonstrating that today in this live stream, but oral communications is a whole different bag.
Tommy says my education far exceeded my intelligence.
Nice, Tommy. Nice. I love
question
Tommy.
I wanted to bring in. He said, I'm curious how some folks doing video can use music soundtracks from famous singers. Copyright. I think in the case of somebody maybe like a Gary V or somebody like that, the artist may actually give him the music and say, hey, listen, play this on your video. Can you play this? Because he probably gets more views on his video than these artists have name recognition.
Yeah.
Whatever that XY chart go, right? Like, Gary is bigger than they are, or at least has an audience that they want to reach. So, and he puts the name of the song and the artist or whatever after, at the end. And that's kind of how I think it works. Other people are just, not aware of either copyright or don't care.
Yeah, and so does Casey too. Casey Neistat on YouTube does the same thing.
Oh, I'm sure.
He makes sure to identify who the artist is and this is a guy who gets 2, 3, sometimes 4 million views per video, which is like, we're talking like, that's like, a championship game in football or something like that. That kind of viewership is insane, right?
Yeah, so we opened up talking about, how much more stress there is on people in terms of their time, right? There's more to do and more to do and more to do, particularly content creators who want to stay up to date on things in social media. Hey, David, thanks for joining us. So just when you thought the easiest of platforms was Twitter, right? Because they limit you to 140, although sometimes writing concise isn't as easy as writing something long-winded.
No.
But now you got to figure out how to fill out 280 characters, or maybe you don't, or maybe you don't. Maybe it's there if you need it, but you don't need to. I'm curious how people are using Twitter, really.
Yeah, let us know in the comments.
That the limit, because honestly, I've used it as though the limit is still basically 140, other than a test I did by doing as many periods as I could do until I started to see that, that little circle thing. First, I thought I was buffering, and then I realized, what is it? I'm like, there's no character count anymore. But I realized as you get close, then you see like 16, 15, 14, or whatever.
Yeah.
So, great point by Tim, by the way. Gary has the money that he can pay the use fee, too. It's really not that much, kind of like PPC ads. Pay-per-click ads.
And Larry says, what else do you think Twitter will change? I want to talk about live video with you, Ross, with Twitter, because I think they're going to go all in on live video. But getting to the character count, I thought that circular thing was a buffer or two. I didn't really understand it at first. I actually like the increase because I'm a diehard, insane, content creator, and I love creating content, and it gives me more opportunity to get more distribution by using more hashtags.
You can get one of your short books in there in a 280.
Yeah. And I can I love copywriting. I love the process of communicating something to an audience that, hopefully encourages them to click. I love that challenge. So this gives me a broader canvas, so to speak. But I never understood what the kind of, I don't even know what the science is with 280, other than doubling, right? 140. But I never understood the science of 140 either, even though I've actually done assignments for my classes, describing, doing abstracts and summaries in 140 or less. I actually like the increase. I don't know. I would love to hear what people think in the comments. What do you think, Ross?
Well, this just came to me as I was not listening to what you were saying. And that is,
this is the only show where nobody listens to each other, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome.
Are you done yet? No. So I was thinking just now, although all your points are excellent, but what I was thinking about is that maybe so many people have damn automated their Twitter that they're like, hey, if we expand the character count, maybe they'll actually come back and write some new tweets instead of sending the same thing out.
Good call.
Recycling it 17 times a day. I don't know. Maybe people will see new opportunities or breathe new life. I don't find that Twitter is tremendously, Nazim makes a great point. He talks about, he still believes the goal is to get people to your site because then, you have a permanent home where you can capture them. You can get email addresses.
Right.
You can have them watch all your content there without needing to find it scattered all over.
Right.
Social networks, as sociable would be if we were listening to each other. Tommy said there's a need for a licensed company.
But you're not listening to me.
Yes, where the little guys, live streamers, can pay the fee needed for such CCLI for churches. I'm going to guess that's some kind of music, right? CCLI. But for copyright purposes, a perfect pair of
non-listeners.
Yes, I just said that if you were listening. I just said that. But back to Twitter 280. I don't know. I don't find that I get a lot of ROI from the time I spend on Twitter, except in two areas. One area is if I tag people that I'm going live, there will be people who will thank me and say, hey, got your Twitter notification. Glad I got it. I'm here. There will be a few people that will be like, never tag me again. But, really, they probably were the people who weren't going to show up anyway.
Exactly.
Saves that effort. And then there's Twitter chats where there's actually real conversations going on and people are, the community gathers and hopefully you learn something and you make a few new contacts and whatever. But I feel like nobody's really reading the content that people are linking to for the most part because everybody's doing as much as they can to not have to spend time on the platform. How can I automate? How can I give my virtual assistant, and we don't have virtual assistants, but those that do, how can I give somebody else the task of liking and retweeting? And I just think that people are not spending the time on Twitter that they once did.
No, they're not. And I'm not really, I love Twitter video, and I'm a video, you know me.
Yeah.
Notice we keep asking about copyright. Yeah. I love using Twitter video, and I stopped automating on Twitter. I mean, a long time ago, just because I don't know. I was having a lot of problem with the tool I was using, but I don't know. Do you automate a lot on Twitter? And by the way, let us know in the comments if you think automated posts are practical or strategic or beneficial. What do you guys think? But Ross, do you automate on Twitter?
I don't automate very much, but I don't have a moral issue with it. Like some people have an issue with everything, right? Like if it's a matter of somebody sharing old blog posts and, or you get together a bunch of interesting pieces of information and comments and stuff. Yeah, that's all good, right? Why do you have to sit there at a certain time and tweet it? You can schedule it, and then you can just spend your time theoretically on engagement. That's what people say who automate. They always say that frees me up to engage. Yeah. Now we know some of them do and some of them don't, but I think that's perfectly sensible. And I haven't really found the right automation tool at the right price point. I use Buffer to schedule. Like I've got we have like a webinar coming up with a business I'm working with. I'll schedule, 3 tweets a day leading up the week of the webinar or something like that, and I'll use Buffer for that. But as far as like my shows and my content and stuff, I just, okay, time to, I haven't tweeted this out yet. Let's do it. Probably can tweet it again a few hours later. A little bell goes off in my head or whatever. But yeah, no, I don't have a moral problem with it like some people do.
Yeah, no, I agree. I don't have I know you have a moral problem with me, which is understandable.
Yeah, but the fact that you automate or not automate has nothing to do with that.
Exactly. Interesting what Nazim says. Social media will get really strange. Yeah, machine learning, AI, that's a whole nother ball of wax. But yeah, I'm wondering who this is for. Is it for marketers to put more, information in a tweet? Does it help with automation? Is it, as Larry says, are they trying to get more users? Is Twitter just hanging on a thread? So I love Twitter.
Let me just jump in here and ask Larry. I'm sorry, Larry, a quick question, because he says, I don't automate, but I don't share natively. I use Buffer. Does that mean you find what you're going to share and you buffer it immediately to go out, or you use Buffer to schedule? Like, okay, I want to share something 3 times this week. I'm going to set it up to go out at specific, because I see Buffer as sort of like a form of automation. No, I mean, yes, you're still finding the content. I guess what I'm doing is I may be confusing scheduling and automation, which may be different things. So yeah. I'm really talking about scheduling. But I even see a value in people using those tools that recycle content. Now back to whatever you were babbling on about before.
No, I completely forgot.
It wasn't that good.
No,
anyway,
I was wondering if people really understand, what if people really understand what this is, who this is really appealing to, the 280 characters. And is this generating more users? Is this for marketers? Is this just, we decided we need to do something because we're dying? Right. Or is Twitter dying? I don't think Twitter is dying. I mean, people keep saying Twitter is dying. I know a lot of people are using. How many times have I said dying? Anyway.
Very uplifting.
Okay. Yeah, welcome to the Mortician Show. But I'm wondering who this is really appealing to. And Larry said it. Is this Larry, said in the chat, Nazim says he doesn't automate, but Larry said that is this supposed to get more users? And I don't know. What do you guys think? It's interesting to me.
Somebody made the comment about AI.
Nazim did.
Nazim, yeah. So, what I'm thinking.
Pay attention to the chat, will you?
Yes, absolutely. There'll be a quiz later. Who said which comment? Yeah. But I think at some point, the way Twitter's going, right? Everybody's going to have automated accounts. that then they have some automated retweet thing. So my account is automated to share your stuff, and yours is, and it's just like, okay, so you'll think that I shared your stuff, but of course you're not watching your account because you've got it automated.
Yeah.
And, you're thinking, oh, cool, Ross likes my stuff, but Ross has no idea. He just was, liking anything with a certain keyword or, hashtag or whatever. So
and plus, how do I know if Ross is liking it? Maybe it's his VA liking it, or
that's exactly right, or the automation
team. Right?
Yes, my team.
I mean, Gary likes to say that.
Hey, can I interrupt you for a second? My team needs no.
Yeah, exactly. I gotta go.
I gotta go.
But, I like what Nazim said, that I don't automate either. And maybe as I progress and hopefully things get they grow in size as far as like what I'm all about and what we're doing. But I don't ever want to get to that point, because I do like doing it. There's a feeling of personalizing it and just knowing that it's coming from me that just really feels valuable. I mean, I know that it's smart, and I know it's strategic, and it saves you time. But I want to have that connection with the audience, and I want to be able to hopefully let them feel that it's me and it's uniquely me. I mean, I get these posts all the time on Instagram, and now we have that part of the show to talk about too. It's like, hey, this is a great photo, and it's like of me going like this or something on Instagram. And it's like, and then I respond, is it really a great photo? And then I don't get anything.
Right.
And I know it's just a way it's a tactic, right?
You have a really great account. Keep up the good work.
Exactly. Yeah. Which we all know Ross's account is crap. No, I'm kidding.
Right. I mean, so right there, they're called out on. No.
Yeah, I don't know. It's the whole. Maybe Nazim is right. I think maybe automation will get on steroids, and then we're all going to be robots eventually. I don't know.
I think what Larry says is really hits at it, right? Imagine if Twitter removed the APIs to those tools, nothing would get posted.
Oh
right?
My God!
People were actually forced to spend time on Twitter.
Yeah,
I mean, but I do find that even if I was to tweet about the same thing, right, and one I scheduled or was being recycled from an old tweet way in advance, and another I just pick up my phone and I did a tweet now, whatever's going on, I don't know how I'm connected to the world or whatever, the one that you type out on the moment and send will generally do better.
Isn't that interesting?
And I don't know why that is. Whether they give priority to something shared on the app versus something scheduled or shared through a third party, or whether it's just I'm more in tune with what maybe even if it's basically the same message, I'm more in tune with what people want at that moment. I
think they can feel it. I really do. I mean, the name of this, we call this the live stream experience, right? And I know, well, definitely for Ross, but for me too, I don't claim to know any more than anybody else, or especially the audience. There's a lot of smart.
I do.
There's a lot of smart people in the chat. Yeah. Well, I mean, I know you know more than I do. At least you think you do.
Well, everybody in the chat.
Everybody knows more than me. But here's the thing.
Too. I mean, we're just kind of facilitating the discussion. I mean,
I think it's a feeling. I think it's an experience. I think that people can feel it when it's got that kind of automaticity, wrapped all around it. Versus, this feels like it's more personal. It's the same thing with an email, right? It's the same thing with anything. It's the same thing with a card or a letter or anything. People can feel when it's got that lack of human vibe, you know what I mean? And I can tell. I can definitely tell. I mean, even when somebody responds, to any of my posts, it's so obvious that it's automatic. You're not fooling it.
Well, I love people.
I'm not even here right now. This is an automated Nez. This isn't the real Nez.
I love people who set up bot accounts or I don't know what apps they use or whatever, so that when something's tweeted about them, it'll be like retweeted and retweeted and retweeted, like it'll amplify anything. Yeah. And that's all well and good when people are saying nice things about them. But then when some bad news hits, they really wish they had those bots turned off, because it's not easy to find and get rid of all those tweets.
Right. Right, exactly.
That's
the problem I had.
Next time somebody gets a screenshot, they might not be getting the screenshot of you. They might be getting it from one of those 75 bots you have sharing your stuff. And I just don't understand that, because after all, none of those people are, none of those fake accounts are really ever going to buy anything from you, or, get you a job, or, hang out with you, or what. Hey, the bot's coming over tonight.
Right,
I'm having dinner with my team. Bot 1, bot 2, bot 3.
Yeah. We're all going camping.
We had a good week. We're taking the team of bots out for dinner.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's, I get real. Maybe I'll change my mind. Maybe we'll both change our minds. But right now, I'm really happy just making sure that my audience knows it's me, and they can tell. I can tell. And I can't stand those automated messages that I get on LinkedIn, on Facebook Messenger bots. And even though, I don't know, maybe I'm just not smart enough. I just set Ross up right there. But
no comment.
No comment. Thank you. He declines a comment.
This is a forum for everybody. There's no entrance exam.
I might change my mind, but for now, I'm really happy with the way I'm doing it, and I like that my audience knows it comes from me, and I like me personally when I know that it's coming from me. You know what I mean?
Well, honestly, I've done some free trials of a bunch of those automation tools where they recycle your posts, right? So you load up a queue with all your blog posts or whatever, and it'll recycle and tips and different things that you want to share, right?
Yeah.
And at the end of doing the trials, I didn't think it was worth $50 a month or even $25 a month. Now, I may change my mind if some tool comes along at a different price point, and but I didn't see the results from it that said this is worth spending money on or this is worth doing. But again, I don't have a problem with it if people do it. If they're putting good stuff out from it, great. I feel like if somebody's going to watch an old show and get to know my what I'm doing because they found it because I automated it rather than went back through the archives and decided what to tweet today from a year ago or whatever. Yeah. I don't I don't think there's anything wrong with that, right? It's just that I don't think that the cost, the risk reward premium is there, right? You're spending a lot of time and money setting all this stuff up, and then it does run by itself, but if you're not getting much of a return out of it, then I don't see really the value of it. I think the value in Twitter is in the moment, whether it's in the moment, hey, I'm starting a live stream, come watch, or it's in the moment where, something's happening in the world and you want to get more information about it. You want to discuss it with people. You want to see what people are saying about an event that's going on or whatever. And in the Twitter chats, that's really where the power is. And I guess Twitter video, which almost nobody uses as far as responses. Some people have been doing that day of response thing, but that's the underutilized thing on Twitter is you share something of mine and I'm happy about it. And I go, hey, Nez, and I record a 10-second, 20-second video saying thanks or whatever. And then that means a heck of a lot more than, somebody putting, thanks and a smiley face or whatever.
Well, I like what Larry says. Larry says, when was the last time you actually started a conversation? I mean, he even says, is this still a social network? Nazim talking about how he has a bot over at his Casa Chiesi FB page. I'm training to make pesto. That's really cool, Nazim. I agree with Larry. I mean, wow. I don't really start. There's not really a conversation as there is on Facebook Messenger or maybe even on Facebook or LinkedIn and other platforms. And it's a place where I really love to go to get my news and get kind of up to speed on things and find out, what's happening in the world. And right, I think to just kind of push, it's a push mechanism for me. And I love using native video because I love video content, but I don't really even get a lot of ROI on my video content as much as I love to do it.
Nazim says, I like the bot for covering when we're not there, but it's super hard to turn off when you show up. Got to punch the bot to get him to shut up. See, now
Yeah, Tim says, I hate the horrible share bot platform have in place. So lame and self-serving the way it's presented. Yeah, I guess it's the same with everything, Ross. If it comes off as all snake oilsy or something like that, then how's that a benefit? Some people are using it as a CRM tool,
right?
But is that really what you're using? Are you?
It's not social,
anything?
Right?
Yeah, it's not social.
Larry says, check out botcheck.me. He did a review of it on his YouTube channel. Checks to see if Twitter accounts are bots. And what I'm wondering there, Larry, is by bot, do you mean that the account is totally automated and there's no person behind it? Or is a bot when there's really me or there's really Nez, but we choose to automate for a while by loading up, scheduling tools and recycling apps and things like that? Larry says yes.
Yes, automate. It's a complete robot.
It's a complete robot. There's no human being that it represents.
No.
I didn't
even know that existed. Thank you, Larry. Bot me check. I didn't know that.
But yeah, I didn't either. But I mean, there's a lot of those. Let's move on to Instagram because Instagram's now letting you share stories to Facebook. I know you do a lot more Instagram stories than I do. What do you think about it?
Well, it hasn't worked for me yet, so I don't know what I'm doing wrong. I don't see.
Have you updated the app?
I thought I did. Am I really that? Stupid? Maybe I am. With
an updated.
Do you care to answer that, Ross?
No, not at all. I'm pretending I didn't hear it.
You're being very nice today. Thank you.
I know. I'm not myself today.
Yeah, you're not yourself today.
I'm a little sluggish today.
It's obvious. I love, coming from the Snapchat world, that was one of the very first places I built a live, so to speak, video audience or live audience, or I don't know what you want to call it.
Right.
And, Periscope. But Instagram stories is, I'm getting, especially with, I think the best thing about Instagram stories is the geolocation, where you can actually, you kind of 100x your viewership by turning on your location and including it in a geographical story, right? And now, we love content distribution. I think content distribution is super important. Nez is too old for IG. Tommy, hey, thanks a lot. I'm only a shade over 75. Give me a break. But, I love the fact that you can share it on Facebook stories now, because
I thought you were dead until you moved.
Thanks a lot. Now you sound like my wife. Okay. But here's the thing.
That's really wrong.
Here's the interesting thing, though, is does this turn into automation now? We're talking about automation, right? Does this get to be too like, oh God, it's automated. There's no feel. There's no humanness.
That's the comment of the day, by the way.
Nazim. What, Nazim's?
No, Tommy's. Nez is too old for Instagram.
Oh, that might be the comment of the day. It just might be. Then I'm too old for all of it, right? I'm too old for Snap. I'm definitely too old for Snap, but nothing stops Nez.
Nothing stops Nez.
Unfortunately.
I think we should do that. I think we should have like comment of the show or something that we like feature during the week or something. I think that's comment
of the show. Yeah, comment of the day. Not comment of the show. Comment of the day. That sounds better. Nazim probably has the realest.
Tim would have had you for 90.
Thanks a lot. I have a great plastic surgeon. He's fired. Anyway, Nazim really has. We could do this, Ross, and let us know what you guys think in the comment. We'll have a comment of the day. We'll have the funniest comment of the day, and then the most truthful comment of the day.
There you go.
I think Nazim's is probably the most truthful.
We'll make that your job to go back and read through all the comments to make sure that we get the right one.
Thanks a lot. Yes. Yeah.
Very good. Let's get started.
Sure. Can I
let me see my movie for my teams available.
Yeah. Anything else you want? You want a side of fries with that?
I want to do. Oh wait, bots can't actually interpret.
Yeah, bots. We'll get a bot on it.
But
I think it's really cool. But just like everything else, it's got a kind of, there's a flip side to that coin where, again, and I think people have been commenting on this in the chat. Is this becoming too much of like, is social media automated media? Should it be replaced with, robot media? I mean, where's the social involved? I don't know. I love it, but I also can see how people might view it the wrong way. I'd love your thoughts, guys.
I mean, I guess people are looking at it as why do my Instagram story and then do a separate Facebook story? Or like I did an Instagram story and it was really good, right? So why not
You did an Instagram story that was really good?
No, not me. I'm saying people. When I say people, my Instagram story is taking a screenshot of somebody else's Instagram story and go, this is really good. Follow Nez for more.
I almost died of shock when you said you did a good story.
No, absolutely not. It's against my principles to do an Instagram story.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, you're too old because of ageism?
No, I'm too young.
Oh, you're too young. Okay,
yeah, I've just had a hard life. I'm really very young. Don't let the. Really.
He's actually 18, but he's been stressing since birth.
Yeah, I've been working. They put me to work at 3 in the mines. What was I talking about?
When people do a good Instagram story.
Yes, when somebody does a good Instagram story. Obviously, they have a lot of people on Facebook who still aren't on Instagram or don't use Instagram regularly. So they feel like, why not let people on Instagram enjoy it? And this makes it easier than just downloading it and going over there and sharing the same thing anyway, right? And I think you can do the same thing now with pages, I'm pretty sure. I think you can send stories to pages, or pages can get story. I forget how that. I'm not that into the stories thing. I mean, you're going to have to do some more research on this.
Yeah, I think for brand awareness, for business, it's huge because again, it's all about the channels of distribution. I think for personal profiles, and I think for people who don't have maybe business in mind, maybe they don't see too much of a use for that. I don't know. Maybe they do. But it's interesting. Social media is becoming more of a business media, isn't it? I mean, more people are recognizing social media as the place to go for business, the place to go for any product, service, e-commerce.
Right.
It's the marketing avenue of choice pretty much for most people right now because of the cost. I mean, it's just basically nothing, right? So is this just another push? Are all roads leading to, hey, we're social, but there's dollar signs behind all this, right?
Yeah, I mean, Nazim mentions that he's playing with Chat Fuel. There's Chat Fuel. There's ManyChat as bots for Facebook. I think you get people to like write a keyword in a post, or like we could have somebody, if they wanted to be notified about our next show, type notify or type Nez sucks or whatever we want to make.
Jeez Louise, thanks a lot.
No, Nez rules or whatever we want to make the keyword.
Speaking of truthful comment of the day.
I had truth serum earlier.
Yeah, thanks a lot. Ladies and gentlemen, in case you're wondering, Ross is a good friend of mine.
Yes. We let him think that.
Yes, thank you.
Where was I going? Okay, so you can put something like in the chat, somebody writes a keyword, they get an automated message. I think if I want to get notifications of like when you go live with Nation or whatever, I don't think I really care that it comes from a bot in that case, right? Do I care whether you actually wrote me to go, Ross, I'm going live, watch my show, or you sent me a bot message going, Nez is going live, watch his show. So I think like if that's what Nazim was talking about, playing around with Chat Fuel with or ManyChat or whatever, I think that's a totally good use of it, and probably something I should be learning how to do.
Yeah, and maybe that's where the CRM tool comes in, right? Maybe I think even like FAQs, like I know a lot of people use bots for FAQs and scheduling, and there's smart ways of doing it. I just don't want like my actual. I guess maybe just making it apparent that it's automated, because some people, like Larry was talking about earlier, it almost feels like some people want it to feel natively or want it to feel like it's them. Right. Why are you even trying to fool me? Like, why are you even trying to? It's just wrong. It's just, you're just lying, I guess.
Yeah, no, the people who do those bots well, like the messenger bots and stuff in Facebook, they make it very clear that this is a bot and that you've opted into a bot. Like there's usually like 2 steps to opt in and things like that.
Yeah.
So Larry asks, why are bots good on Facebook but bad on Twitter?
I don't know if they're bad on Twitter. I don't even know if they're good on Facebook. I think, again, it doesn't really, I'm not sure if it matters on the platform.
I disagree with you.
It just matters if you're being honest about it, or if you're, if you're a bot, I say this to my students all the time. Like, you just own it, whatever it is that you are. Just own it. If you're, an extrovert, an alpha, own it. If you're an introvert and whatever, own it. If you're more ambitious, own it. If you're less ambitious, own it. Just own it, right? I don't know.
Because the way I see it, and
Did
Tim,
any of that make sense? Did any of that make sense at all, or no?
What were you talking about? I mean, Tim says, I think it's more about how the bot is used versus having a bot replace you. And I mean, that's exactly the right point. To Larry's question, I think the bot is being used on Twitter for the most part to artificially boost somebody's content. It's just a way of gaming the system. Not entirely, but mostly, and to send people unwanted DMs and things like that. But a lot of it is just, let me get some bots out there, and then they'll look like there's more activity going on my tweets, and I'll get more followers, and that'll mean something to somebody, right? I think Facebook, it's a little more like customer service in a sense. Like, I can't be everywhere. You want to watch my show, so you could click the Facebook little bell there or whatever that thing is that tells you when somebody goes live, right? But maybe you don't want to do that. Maybe you just want to pick the people and they send you a message about what their show's about, and you can decide or whatever. And for me, with some shows, I'm totally fine with that. But I don't think it's cool if somebody's just using bots to, like, let's get 10 bots going so I can look like my account is great,
Yeah. Isn't that basically what I just said, or no?
I don't know. I told you I wasn't listening.
Obviously.
What you do is you create other accounts, like, for example, at Ross and
Nazim, sense? I was not listening.
So you create other accounts like at Ross and Nez, where you can follow us on Twitter and Instagram. And then from that, we can retweet everything that we do. And it looks like more people like our stuff.
Yeah.
So it's honest, because we're putting in the work to boost our stuff rather than having a bot do it.
Exactly. It's more
honest.
I'm
not sure what he's referring to, but Nazim says good point. So
he must be. Are you sure you mean Ross and not me, Nazim?
I know. Nazim's a wise man. He knows what he's talking about.
Yeah. I didn't get one of those points, Nazim. No,
I didn't get anything you were saying either.
Bots replace the human, organic, personalized touch. I can order food through a bot on Facebook, but how to tell a bot hold the mayo? I'm sure there's a way to do that too.
Some people get really mad when they.
We won't go there. But yeah, it's interesting. And what do you guys think about the Instagram story? I want to hear in the comments. What do you guys leave it in the comments? What do you think about Instagram share cross-posting over into Facebook? Do you guys use Facebook stories? Do you think it's important? Is this just another conglomerate decision to dominate and just try to capture attention and just Facebook's, world domination? Or is this something that actually it came from the users' request and desire? What do you guys think? I'd love to know. So
Nazim says when he comes to New York, we all need to go out. It would be a riot. It would be. And Nez is going to have to come from California to visit New York.
Yeah, we'll put everything on Ross's tab. Ross will pay for everything.
You picked the point. We'll put it on the show.
Yeah.
Let me talk to my my team back there. See?
Yes. Yeah. Let's
charge it to the bot, one of the bot accounts. With their bot credit card, they can pay for everything.
Yeah, exactly.
Did you see anything this week in live streaming that stood out? Any shows? Any any news? Anything like that you were just like, oh yeah, this is good stuff, or this is a troubling development, or it's kind of a quiet week, I think, for the most part.
Are you talking to me, Russ?
I'm talking to anybody. Obviously, I'm talking. Hopefully you're not the only one listening, but the way it works with a broadcast is only the people with a actual microphone and access can respond. So anybody can throw into the chat what they learned or didn't learn or liked or didn't like. But Basically, you're the only one who can talk, so that's kind of what your role is here.
Oh, thanks. Yeah. Thank you very much.
Otherwise, I can just drop you back down to the lobby, and there you go. Okay, so here we go on Ross and Nez. Nobody can hear Nez, but we'll bring him back in just a second. There he goes. He spent the last 30 seconds in the penalty box.
Oh, that'd be great. Put Nez in the penalty box. Vote if you want Nez in the penalty box. That's a good thing. Do you want to talk a little bit about what you and I are doing and what our vibe is, Ross? And
sure.
Maybe we can get. I would love to. We got a lot of smart people in the chat.
You want to give out the link?
Outside the chat, but we got a lot of smart people in the chat and people watching on the replay. Ross and Nez, what do y'all think? And Ross, how do you want to characterize this or describe it possibly?
Sure. I actually just put, and I hope this is okay with you. I probably should have asked you, but
thanks a lot.
I've got the controls here, so what the heck, right? I put the guest link in the chat. If somebody wants to come in and offer an opinion or just chat with us for a couple minutes, we would love.
Brave enough.
Tommy says the show I am on would probably be in the troubling category. Nazim says he prefers live stream. So what are we doing with this Ross and Nez thing? Well, we did a live stream just for the kind of the heck of it, right? Because we enjoy chatting with each other and got to know each other a little bit recently at Vid Summit, and we thought it'd be fun to do a show. And we had such a blast. We said, let's find another time, right? We don't have a scheduled show at this point or anything, but I guess from my point of view, when I look at what I did with Livestream Universe, I didn't even know that I would ever go live at the time I started it, right? But I said, let's do a Twitter account. Let's see, even if we just do this spontaneously, here and there, whatever, I figured let's still brand it the way you would brand a high quality content, so that if this becomes something, if we decide, okay, we want to keep doing this or we want to do a regular show, if there is an interest out there, we will have the things in place and we'll do it. So, anything I do is like, okay, if this would become something, I need to treat it the way what I would want it to become. Right. So I guess that's why I felt like, let's do it, and you were totally on the same page with me. Let's set up a website. Let's set up a Facebook page and social media accounts and have a little bit of branding and all that kind of stuff. And make it as easy for people to find out what we're doing, since we are going live spontaneously. And we'll judge, if people are liking our Facebook page and watching and sharing and stuff, that means, we'll keep doing it. And if, it isn't something people are interested, then we'll just go back to having these conversations on the phone.
Exactly. Yeah. Nazim asks, is this going to be a weekly show? That's kind of something that we'd love to ask you guys. And I agree with Ross. Mm-hmm. Ross and I have, a very similar kind of backgrounds, and we have a similar kind of personality and, maybe a similar type of intelligence. Now I'm really putting him in the.
You're limiting me.
Yeah. But I think it's very rare to find people that you share, that the chemistry there is cooking. And thank you so much, Tommy, and everybody.
I don't know what that means, but that's okay.
Ross and Nez is a good show, but to be alphabetically politically correct, it should be Nez and Ross. I like Ross and Nez. I actually like, but what do you guys think? Maybe we should change it. No, I actually like Ross and Nez, and I could care less about alphabet, but I appreciate that.
Larry's here. Tim was in the
Larry's in the house
for a minute. Hey, Larry, how are you?
Hey, can you guys hear me okay?
We can hear you great.
Awesome.
So what's on your mind, my friend?
I just wanted to come in and say hi, and this is my first time, I think, watching Nez and Ross.
Good to see you. Good to meet you, Larry.
Or is it Ross and Nez?
Ross and Nez.
So I just thought I'd step in and see if this actually works. I'm still looking for my...
With your beauty before age, right?
Yeah.
That's exactly right.
No, I think it's age before beauty, so Ross goes first.
great. You guys are a riot together.
Or maybe,
thanks.
Or maybe Beast before age.
He's saying nice things about us, Nez. Be quiet.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I was just saying, you guys are a riot together. You should go on the road.
Yeah. Maybe we will.
On the road, huh?
Maybe we will. Yeah. I've got a Pinto in the garage.
Next week.
Yeah. Yeah.
Tell us about yourself, Larry. What's your story a little briefly, and tell us what you think would be, something that Ross and Nez could incorporate or do more of.
I don't know what your focus is for I don't know if you change the topic every week. I mean, again, this is my first time watching you guys. I know you both have different shows and do different things, but so I don't know if you're changing the topic every week, so I can't really comment on what you should bring to the table because this is my first time watching. So,
well,
Ross,
it's pretty safe. We won't do 280 characters on Twitter again. We pretty much beat that dead horse, right? We did. I mean, unless something comes and we see somebody using it, and the question is, are people going to stuff it with hashtags, and is that acceptable? I didn't even think of that before. Like, is this just going to be loaded up? Like, okay, now instead of 2 hashtags, I can put 30 in there or whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, I mean, I think just the kind of things that deal with live streaming and social media and business that we would talk about in a phone conversation, or if we were hanging out and having lunch or whatever, and then whatever else we feel like, whatever we observe or want to just discuss, or if there's something happening in the world that's of interest, but, probably keeping it away from politics and, the stuff that, drives people crazy on Facebook already, right? You don't need more of that.
Right.
Yeah.
What we want to do, Larry, is we want this show, and I'm sure Ross would agree with this. We want this show to be fun. We want it to still be valuable, but and Nazim and a few people have already commented on this, and you have too. Thank you. I've never met somebody like Ross where, this kind of chemistry comes along once in a lifetime. And Ross and I, we're big believers in the more fun you're having, we were having so much fun off camera that we thought, gosh, and we both finding like-minded people, right, who love to do the same thing. We got to bring this to the masses. I mean, it would be a crime to deprive the masses of this.
It's for the people that we're doing this. Yes.
We do it for the people, folks. It's for the people. But no, I mean, we want to, obviously, I'm going to cross off, Twitter 280 count 2.0 part 2 next week. But no, we're going to be switching topics every week and trying to I mean, literally, this is like, I think this is kind of maybe unprecedented. It's a possible show that's evolving as we broadcast it. Literally, we want to hear from the audience. What should we be talking about? What should we be? What topics do resonate? And what are some different themes and ideas and structure? Right. So it's really a live stream about live stream show. Literally.
And what I like about working with Peter, although I wouldn't tell him this to his face, but I actually do like the guy, despite how I sometimes respond.
I'm getting goosebumps.
And that is that, like, he can talk about such a wide variety of things, right? That we can pretty much talk about what we want to talk about. Whereas, and I've loved doing live stream stars for 2 years, and I'm probably going to continue doing it. I have another show coming up Monday night, 7 p.m. Eastern, on the Livestream Universe Facebook page. Shameless plug.
Nice plug.
Yes, the co-founder of Live U is actually going to be joining me. The guy invented cellular bonding, which is what allows you to combine multiple cell connections. Anyway, back to Larry's question, your question, somebody's question. There was a point to all this.
Get there, will you?
Yeah. So when we have guests, right? Like, I book guests. My first year I was doing it, I booked guests like 6 months, 8 months out, right? When the guest comes on, the show's topic is going to be whatever the guest, what their area of expertise and knowledge, what their book is about, whatever. And that's fine. And that's how most people are doing live stream shows. It's either they have a guest on and they're going to talk about the guest, or they've decided for 4 weeks they're going to do 7 tips to optimizing your Twitter bot or whatever, right? And then they're going to do those 7 tips regardless of whatever, right? what I wanted to do is we talk about what we would actually be talking about if we were all hanging out, right? Yeah. And then if we bring on a guest, it's because the guest can add something to that conversation, not tailoring the conversation to the guest. So if there was somebody, yeah, so like the guest comes in for a little bit to talk about, well, they're knowledgeable on what Twitter was thinking with this or whatever, that would be a good person to add to the conversation. But somebody who wanted to, talk about 8 ways to optimize your Google Plus profile or whatever, that person probably wouldn't be getting an invite today, right? Let me bring in Larry. Thanks so much for joining. I want to bring in Tim.
Thanks, Larry.
Real quick. Thank you, Larry. So Tim will be joining us in just a second to tell us how much he dislikes the show and why he thinks this should be the final episode.
Tim Longwell in the house.
What's Tim, can you see Tim? I can hear Tim, but I don't know if I can see. Tim is frozen.
Let me see. Tim,
I'm gonna drop you down for a second, refresh your browser, and we'll bring you right back up.
Your new thumbnail, by the way.
No, that was him frozen there. Or you mean his thumbnail?
Oh, never mind. No, I meant he had a post earlier about a thumbnail.
I thought you meant like his thumbnail was really growing. Excellent job. Very good.
That fungus looked at, will you?
Good. I'm glad you're paying attention there.
Yes, thank you.
Here we go. Here comes Tim in 3 and 2. And there he is.
Longwell.
Mr. Longwell.
No. Me in with Nez and Brand. Oh, no. Can the mayor and professor handle it?
Yes.
No, probably not. The mayor and the professor are here. I don't know why he put Peter Nez. You should have put Professor Nez. What's wrong with you, Ross?
If I put Professor Nez, it doesn't link to your profile. It links to your Professor Nez page.
I see. Aha. Well, that's okay, too. That's all right.
Yeah. What I do sometimes is I'm just doing like Peter Nez, and then you know how like you can cut the Nez out, like you can go back and then you just have the person's first name.
Yeah.
So I've realized you can actually just take out the person's first name if you put the, and so now I just do like Nez.
Yep.
So if you actually check your notifications on Facebook sometime today and stop with all that working that you've been doing.
Oh my goodness.
You'll see that I actually did that. And So Tim, what do you want to hear from us? Like, you want us to just shut up and get on with your weekend, but besides that, what could we offer with this show that would be something you'd be interested in?
Well, right off the bat, you guys, you have a lot of zeal and enthusiasm for live streaming.
Oh, is that what you call it?
And that's the way I define it. I mean, others may call it something else, but we won't go there.
No, I'm teasing.
Well, the professor calls himself a live stream nut job, so
which is true in so many ways.
Yeah, well, everybody's got their own shovel, so
I may have to come on camera with a straitjacket. It might be perfect.
But
Ross
I like the format here. Is
my team's trying to do that to me right now.
Oh, God, will you get your VAs out of here?
You really got
Sorry, Tim. Go ahead.
bots in order.
The bots are doing it to me.
I didn't catch the last one.
Tim, you got to take a look. I'm taking some screenshots of the back end here on Be Live TV where I can see your full picture and not in the 3-up thing that people are seeing on Facebook. Right. Because Nez wasn't kidding. This makes an awesome like YouTube cover. You picture of you, it's got the mic because you're frozen right now on our screen. It's got the microphone, it's got the 2 canvases behind you. It looks incredible. Perfect. Hey, don't ever change. Stay like that.
Yeah, just hold still.
Here soon, that's going to change because I found an internet provider that actually will give me service 10 meg up in the sticks.
Nice.
So what would you like to see?
So instead of the almost one,
what would you like to see more of?
I like the discussion that you guys were having today. This was the first one I caught.
Cool.
And that you covered the topic about the increase. And, as you can tell by mine and everybody else's feedback on it, good and bad ways about these bots.
Yeah.
What are the wrong ways to use them? What are good ways to use them? How can they be effective without depersonalizing you or your brand?
Perfect.
Yeah.
Well said.
Depersonalizing is a great way to say it. And I think the people who are smart, like we were saying earlier, they let you know it's a bot. They give the bot its own sort of personality and approach, right? Like it's not just, spammy. It's sort of like, here I am. I'm a bot. I'm here to help you. I'm here to give you the information. We'll keep you notified of what's going on, whatever it is that bots. That's kind of a customer service bot. Like it's like there when the person can't be, right? It's different than what I call the gaming the system bot.
The old answering machine.
Right.
The old answering machine.
Thanks for calling. Ross will be with you later.
Yeah.
You go to websites.
As opposed to the loan at the phone company that you want to smash the phone with.
Of course, people could probably just realize that if they come visit a website at 4 a.m, probably, well, with me, you never know. But with most people, they're not going to be on
don't
a
get
website.
Him started. Don't get him started.
But, things like, I'm not saying that's the only topic you cover, but this kind of format, I think with a little bit of effort, the topics wouldn't be that hard to come up with that accent and where they can be effective or where it might be a good idea to avoid. You and Rachel do it on VLive's show.
Right.
You do it with your guests on Livestream.
Mm-hmm.
Peter does it with his guests on Nez Nation broadcasts. So, you guys already naturally do this.
Well, thank you, Tim.
So, you're already there. Like the Instagram stories and Facebook.
That's right.
That's probably a show by itself.
Yeah.
Well, listen, I know Nez has got to run. He's got a business meeting he's got to go to. So thanks so much for joining us, Tim.
Thank you, Tim. You're the best.
We do have to wrap up. We love all the support and great the great energy you bring to the chat. We really appreciate it. And Nazim and Larry and everybody who's been with us, Tommy, who's been with us throughout the show, all the people around the world on Armed Forces Radio. Happy Veterans Day. But seriously, happy Veterans Day, everyone. And thanks to everyone who has served. We really appreciate what you've done for our country. And Professor, it's another great time with you. I think we should probably do this again sometime.
Yeah, I could possibly be talked into it. I think I could be
talked into it. Let me put the case together. Do you want me to do like a PowerPoint presentation, or how should I present it to you?
Yes, make it 2 or 3 pages. It'll be a 2,000 word count. Must have 5 sources. No, I'm kidding.
If you haven't done so, do like our Facebook page.
Thank you, Nazim. Thank you, Tommy.
Yeah, definitely like our Facebook page. Share it out. Thank you, everybody, for joining us, and we'll see you again soon. Have a great day, everybody.
Have a wonderful